Hi, welcome to Edible Garden City. My name is Maya and I will bring you guys around the farm today. So in case you don't know where we are here in Queenstown, where it used to be a prison actually. Just right behind the Queenstown Library, about a 10 minutes walk from the MRT, so really accessible in the city. And we are in Edible Garden City, where 3 teams of about 40 people working together in different departments to put all of this together and share all this with you guys today. So let's go for a tour. I hope you will enjoy. All right, so we're here now in the area where the production team is growing a variety of plants and edibles, mostly for our customers and for you guys as well. And we have one here that is something that you might have known, that is our okra. So you can see the size of the leaves that is really, really huge. And we have some fruits at the back over there. So we have some fatter fruits over here. And then we have some thinner and longer ones inside here as well. And we have actually quite a few branches coming out from the same plant. So the way the okra grows, like all of your edible fruits, you will first have a flower that is coming out, and then that flower will turn into a fruit. So we have one flower here that is that is still closed, and some funny insect on my hand. Yeah. So they're actually really, really beautiful. They almost look like hibiscus flowers when they open. And they get very big as well. And after the flower dries up, like here, it actually turns into an okra. So actually here you can see the start of the okra fruit forming over here. Alright, so another plant that the farmers are growing here that is a little bit more unique that you might not know of is what we call the cranberry hibiscus that is just behind me over here. So often people ask if this is maple leaf. These are not maple leaves. Maple leaves will grow on a big maple tree. So this is our cranberry hibiscus that is part of the hibiscus family as well. So you can see these beautiful reddish pink color leaves. They actually also exist in the green form, in the green color, but those over here are actually super nice to eat, and there is a reason why it's called cranberry hibiscus. They sort of taste like cranberries. So I'll just get a little leaf over here. You can see this is not a fully formed leaf yet, but it won't really change the taste anyway. And yeah, you can just eat it raw. And you have this really sour. Yeah, this really sour taste that tastes a bit like skin grape or even cranberry. For some of you guys, I think that maybe tasting more of the sourness of the cranberry. Alright, so we have another production area over here where they are growing mostly herbs and flowers that will go to restaurants and our Citizen Box subscribers as well. And there is a few plants that I want to show you, and the first one is this one over here that is called Indian borage. So this one is a variegated version of the Indian borage, and it's a really amazing plant that has really strong volatile essential oil as well. If you just go and shake it already, you can have all the fragrance coming out. But if you actually rub the leaf and then smell your fingers, it's very, very strong as well. It's actually the same family of the mint, so it has some sort of a minty smell. It is known to be very good for sore throat or for throat problems in general. So if you are having a very bad cough, for example, or just even a slight sore throat, and you don't have time to make a tea out of it, you could even just pluck a leaf and then chew the leaf and spit it out and just drink that juice that came out of the leaf, and it will be enough to soothe your sore throat. If you have more time, go ahead and boil it into a tea, maybe for like 20 to 30 minutes, and you will get this really strong, fragrant tea that you can drink regularly to soothe your sore throat as well. farmers here can say that it works. At least in the education team, we talk a lot and we do a lot of Indian variety and it works. All right, so let's just go and see some of the plants over here. There is another one that you might not really know, and we call it Mexican tarragon. So it's another herb in the same herb family, which both leaves and flowers are edible and can be eaten raw. And it has these very interesting, like, long leaves coming out. And the flowers are really pretty. Like, the petals look a little bit messy, but it's actually the way they look when they grow, and they're very nice as well. And the leaves, as well as the flowers, actually taste like licorice. So if any of you that likes licorice, or it also tastes like what we call hex here, if some of you know. The Mexican tarragon, you either like it or not. I personally really like it, and I would just munch on it when I'm in the office sometimes, just as a snack, because it really has this sweet licorice taste to it, for the one that like that. And it's also very good just to put into a tea, or it used to actually be dried and smoked to purify the air in Central and South America as well. So it's very nice as a fragrance in that way too. All right, I have a few more to show you over there. We have our friends, the butterflies around, that really appreciate the flowers. And we have these other guys here that you might have seen or not, that we called Okinawa spinach. So it is not from Okinawa and it is not a spinach, but it's just the way it is called. And it's this really interesting salad actually that is super slimy when you eat it, and is full of omega-3 and is known to be helping with cholesterol issues. So it helps to reduce cholesterol. So I'll just pluck a tiny leaf over here. And you have this really earthy taste. It's not bitter at all. It's almost a little bit peppery towards the end. And it has a bit of slime inside. So actually the thing with that is that either you eat it raw or you eat it very cooked. If you cook it only a little bit, it will get even slimier. If you really like slimy vegetables, you can also just cook it halfway, it's fine. But it's also it's a very versatile plant that can be used both in salads and in your dishes as well. And the last one I want to show you, it's this beautiful plant over here that some of you may have seen around. If you look at the flowers, you might guess its name as well. And this is a cat whiskers plant, or misai kucing, the Malay name. And it's another plant from which the flowers are edible and can be eaten. And the roots have been shown to treat malaria, actually. The leaves as well have some medicinal properties, especially for urinary tract infection and things like that. So another one of the very medicinal plant that we have around here, that we usually mostly use the flowers, but if we do need to use the rest for its medicinal properties, we have that plant available over here. And it grows very bushy and very nicely with very interesting looking flowers. So we have our little corner garden over here that can actually look quite messy, but there is a reason for that. If you observe the plant, you can see that we have different layers over here. So we have a first layer where we have some of that plant that is called wild pepper plant, from which actually the leaves and the fruits are both edible. It's actually a native plant and is grown everywhere in Singapore as an ornamental ground cover, but it is actually edible. You could be using the leaves to be wrapping meat or fish or even vegetable and then steam them. You can also wrap it up and eat it raw as well. And the fruits are also very peppery. You can make them into a drink, for example, infuse them to make a drink of it. Or just if you dare biting the whole pepper fruit, go ahead, but it might be a little bit spicy. And just next to it, over here, we have another ground cover that is actually even lower than the pepper plant, and this is just Thai watercress or wild watercress. That is another one that you can find easily growing out around Singapore. And it's very nice. You can just put it in your soup if you want. You can stir fry it, you can eat it raw, eat it as a salad. It's very easy to grow. It will stay low usually. The only thing is that it likes to be close to water, or it needs a lot of watering. So you usually see it growing near drains actually, where they can get a bit more water. So this is our first layer. Then we have a second layer in which we have our candlestick plant over here. So you can see why it's called candlestick flower, candlestick plant. I guess the flower sort of looks like a candlestick. They have these beautiful bright yellow flowers that are slowly coming out. So the bottom ones first, and those are still closed actually. And we have the pods of the flower over here. These are the young pods in which the seeds will come when they will be dry. And for this, the leaves are actually good because they have antifungal properties, so they can be used locally and internally as well for this purpose. So we have this on our second layer, and then we have our third layer in which we have our taller trees, like our moringa tree over here. So you see a lot of the branches here. It's going all the way up and falling onto this side as well. All right. And these are the moringa leaves. So moringa is also called the miracle tree. And the reason is that it's really a beautiful plant that is growing very easily in our climate, that can just grow from a piece of branch, basically a piece of trunk that you put on the ground, and new sprouts will come out of it. All parts of the plants can be used: the roots, the bark, the pods, the seeds, the leaves, the flowers. They all have different medicinal properties, either for topical application or internal consumption as well. And it's super nutritious. So your moringa leaves over here, if you take 100 grams of them dry, they will have more calcium than milk. They will have more protein than most meat as well. They have a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals. It says that if you're eating this in your diet every day, you shouldn't be falling sick at all, and you'll get all the nutrition that you need. And they can actually be eaten in many ways, including raw. So when you eat it raw, it can be quite strong, especially the older leaves. They have a slightly bitter taste, but they're also quite nutty and really have this earthy flavor. All right, so here is our microgreens room, and actually it's much colder over here, and the reason why is because we're growing them inside the room where we have aircon that is about 24 degrees, and we also have ventilation as well. So those microgreens are really grown in a much more controlled environment where we're able to plan much better the yield that we're going to get, since we have to meet some client expectations as well. We're growing really a variety of microgreens here, so you can have a look. There we have some red amaranth that is very, very pretty and bright. Then next to it we have some micro coriander. We have some corsica here. And even some bronze fennel at the bottom. So these are just a few of the varieties that we grow, and that are really appreciated from the chef, especially because they are packed of flavor. They are full of flavors. They're really packed with this punch of sourness or bitterness or sweetness or nuttiness that can be very easily used for garnishing and really change the whole taste of your dish in that way. They're actually quite easy to grow as well, and we'll share with you how in a bit. And you don't need this sort of setting to grow it at home, obviously. In this particular room, you can actually see that we have different levels over here onto those big shelves. And this is just helping us to save a lot of space, right? So in this tiny room over here, we can really grow a lot of microgreens per week and even per year. And if you observe how it works over there, so we have some sort of like fabric at the bottom that will be absorbing the water that we're pouring in, right? So there is water that is being poured in, and then we have the fabric absorbing it, and then through a wicking system, that water is then going into the microgreens trays. So there is some soil inside the tray, as you can see, and underneath we have some holes in which the water can go in. And if you look closely here, we actually have some roots that are coming out. So the roots will come out of those holes to come and absorb the water that is coming from the bottom. So in that way, by having this bottom-up sort of watering, it avoids disturbing the stems of the microgreens too much by watering from the top of it. But we'll cover a little bit of this later. Yeah, so let's try some microgreens. All right, so we have our pea tendrils over here that are really, really nice to eat. But before that, I want to show you what's happening underneath. Just now, we're talking about the roots coming out slowly from the holes. Here, the roots are huge, as we can see. So not all the plants will have the same roots. Some will be more fibrous, some will have thicker roots like the pea tendrils. But basically, that's what happens, so that they can absorb the water better. And then, these are full size, ready to be eaten and harvested. So for the pea tendrils, we can eat the tendrils and the leaves and even the stem, actually, because they are super nice to eat. So I'll just get one over here and pull it out. And then you can just eat it. So these are basically baby peas, right? If you were to try to grow this outside up to full size, most likely it won't do well in our weather and you won't be able to get a full size plant. But the microgreens are really amazing. You can really eat the whole plant. If you're a bit worried about eating it raw, you can slightly cook it a little bit. But using it as garnishing onto a salad or any type of dish is really nice. It really has a sweet pea taste with a nutty aftertaste that is very pleasant as well. And we'll be growing some of this with you guys in a bit. All right, thank you for following me around the farm. I hope you had a good time and you enjoyed, and hope to see you around the farm soon. Bye-bye.